Welcome to another story that'll make you double check your locks tonight. This one still keeps me awake sometimes, because it didn't happen on some deserted road or haunted forest. It happened in a normal city apartment, my apartment, during the blackout of 2021. I lived on the 7th floor of the Alden Towers in Chicago. A pretty normal place, 8 floors, slightly run-down hallways, flickering exit signs, and a faint smell of burnt popcorn that never left the lobby. Nothing special until that night. The blackout started around 9:17 p.m. I remember the time exactly because I was heating leftover pizza when the microwave stopped mid-cycle, and everything went dark, not just my apartment, but the entire block outside my window. The skyline that usually glowed all night turned into a dead silhouette. At first, I thought it was temporary. But then, the emergency lights in the hallway came on, dim red bulbs casting that creepy blood-colored glow. The air conditioning stopped. The silence felt heavier than usual. I grabbed my phone. 43% battery. No Wi-Fi, no signal. Within minutes, I started hearing people in the hallway's footsteps, doors opening, neighbors calling out, trying to see if anyone else's power was out too. From across the hall, Mrs. Perkins, an older woman who always wore pink slippers, called out, "Is yours out too?" "Yeah," I said, "probably citywide." Just stay calm, but calm didn't last long. Around 10 p.m., the building went silent again. No voices, no footsteps. Just the low hum of the city's dying generators in the distance. Then faintly from above, knocking. 3 knocks. Slow, measured. Then again, closer this time. I stepped into the hallway. Red light everywhere, shadows stretching across the cracked paint. Someone was knocking on doors, one by one, moving from the 8th floor down. Knock, knock, a pause. Then footsteps. I couldn't tell if it was a man or woman, but whoever it was, they were methodical. Every 3 knocks exactly the same distance apart. And the sound grew louder as it moved floor to floor. When it reached mine, the 7th, I froze by my door, peeking through the peephole. The hallway was empty, but I could hear the knocking right next to my apartment. My heart started pounding. It wasn't frantic, not random. It was almost polite. Knock, knock, knock. I held my breath. The knocking stopped for a moment, and I heard something that made my stomach twist. Breathing, slow, raspy breathing, just outside the door. Then a whisper. "I know you're awake." I stumbled back, nearly tripping over my coffee table. Every part of me screamed to call for help, but the phone still had no service. I waited, listening, but the sound faded away. The knocking continued, now on the 6th floor. Then the 5th. Whoever it was, they were moving down. Always in order, always the same pattern. I sat awake all night, staring at the door. At 4:07 a.m., the emergency lights flickered, and for a second, everything went black again. When they came back on, I saw something that made my chest tighten. My doorknob was wet, like someone had been holding it with damp hands. I didn't sleep that night. None of us did. When the sun finally rose and power came back, the building manager went door to door checking on everyone. But by noon, the police had arrived. Someone had found an apartment on each floor. Wide open, furniture still inside, lights on, but no residents. No sign of struggle either. On my floor, that apartment was 7B, right next to mine, Mrs. Perkins. Her pink slippers were left by the doorway. And the door was still swinging slightly, as if it had been opened only moments ago. By the time the cops left that morning, the entire building felt different. Everyone was pretending to go about their day, walking dogs, checking mail, making phone calls, but no one was really there. You could see it in their eyes. 7 floors, 7 missing residents, 1 from each. Mrs. Perkins from mine, a newlywed couple from 8, a single dad from 6. Gone, just gone. No forced entry, no blood. No broken locks, just wide open doors and personal belongings untouched. The police wrote it off as a possible coordinated disappearance, whatever the hell that meant. But when I asked the building manager, Arthur, if he checked the security footage, his face went pale. "We're still trying to recover the files," he said, avoiding my eyes. "The cameras went down during the blackout. Power surge wiped the system, but that wasn't true. I worked in IT. I knew the system had a backup drive in the basement server room. The power could kill the feed, but not the storage. Something didn't add up. That night, the hallways felt colder. I could still see the faint smudge marks around Mrs. Perkins' doorknob, as if someone had pressed their hand there for too long. I thought about wiping it clean, but something inside me said not to touch it. I tried to distract myself, made coffee, put on music. The lights flickered again around 11:30 p.m., and I swear I heard a faint knock above me on the 8th floor. I froze. No, not again. But this time, it wasn't a pattern, it was scattered. Almost like whoever was knocking couldn't remember the rhythm. Knock, a pause, knock, knock. And then a long, dragging sound, wood scraping against wood. I stood there, heart hammering, and opened my apartment door just enough to look out. The hallway was empty, dim red again. I could hear someone whispering up above. It was muffled at first, but as I strained to listen, I realized it wasn't one voice. It was many, dozens of whispers, all blending together like wind through a tunnel. Then one voice broke through, clear, right outside my door. "Why didn't you answer?" I slammed the door shut so hard the picture frames rattled. My breath came in short gasps. My pulse was so loud I couldn't hear anything else. I kept my hand on the lock until my knuckles went white. For the rest of the night, I sat with my back against the door. I didn't sleep, didn't move, just waited. At 6:02 a.m., someone banged on the door, really banged, and shouted, "Maintenance." I hesitated, then opened it slightly. It was Arthur, the building manager, looking rough, pale, sweating, eyes bloodshot. He said, "You need to see this." We went down to the basement. The whole place smelled like mold and burnt wiring. The backup server rack was humming, lights flickering weakly. He pointed at the monitor. System came back online at 4:07 a.m., he said. Same minute as last night. He clicked open the file labeled Hallway Cam 7F. The footage was grainy, black and white. At first, it showed an empty hallway. Then, around 3:59 a.m., a dark shape appeared at the end. Too tall, too thin, moving unnaturally slow. It stopped at every door. 3 knocks, perfectly timed. When it reached mine, it leaned close to the camera. The face was blurred like static, but you could make out eyes that didn't blink. Then something worse, the timestamp jumped. From 4 a.m. to 4:07 a.m. instantly, and in that missing 7 minutes, all the apartment doors were suddenly open. Every single one. Arthur was trembling. "It's the same on every floor," he said. I checked them all, the same gap, the same time stomp. I asked him, "Did you call the police?" He nodded. "They're sending someone. But until then, don't leave your room tonight. Whatever it is, it comes when the power dies." That night, I kept every light on. I didn't even blink for more than a few seconds. At exactly 3:58 a.m., all the lights flickered once, then again, and then darkness. Total blackout. When the power died again, it felt like the entire building took a breath and held it. No hum from the fridge. No distant traffic. No sound at all. Just the kind of silence that presses against your ears until it starts to hurt. I grabbed my phone. 19% battery. I turned on the flashlight and aimed it at the door. My plan was simple, record everything. If something happened tonight, I wanted proof. I set my phone against a glass jar on the counter, camera facing the door, recording. The flashlight beam washed the room in harsh white. Every sound, the creak of the wood, the faint hiss of the pipes, made me twitch. Then, around 3:59 a.m., I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. But this time, it wasn't outside. It came from the closet. I froze. That closet was barely big enough to hold coats and a vacuum. I hadn't opened it in days. The knocks came again, louder. I slowly turned my flashlight toward the door, heart slamming in my chest. My mouth was dry. I could barely breathe. Knock, knock, knock. My voice came out shaking. "Who's there?" Silence. Then, from the other side, a whisper, my own voice, repeating the same words back at me. "Who's there?" I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the coffee table. The knocking stopped, replaced by the faint sound of scratching, like nails against wood. Then 3 slow knocks at the apartment door. No, there couldn't be someone both in the closet and outside. It didn't make sense. The air felt colder now, like the temperature had dropped 10 degrees. My breath fogged in front of me. The flashlight started to flicker, dimming with each pulse of my heartbeat. I crept toward the door, shaking. Looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just the red glow of the emergency light outside. Then my phone, still recording, vibrated on the counter. I glanced over. The screen flickered, showing the live video feed. For a second, I thought it glitched, because I saw myself standing there, looking through the peephole. But then, another me stepped out of the closet behind the real me. I turned around so fast I dropped the phone. The screen cracked. The flashlight rolled away, light spinning across the walls. The closet door was wide open, empty. I scrambled for the phone, heart racing, trying to stop the recording. But before I could, I saw movement on the screen again. The hallway camera feed. It was live. I didn't open it. It just appeared. And there, outside my door, something was standing. Tall, thin, head tilted to one side. Its outline shimmered like static. Then the screen went black. A second later, the power roared back to life. Lights, everything. The clock on the microwave read 4:07 a.m., exactly the same time as before. I sat on the floor until the sun came up, shaking, trying to convince myself I'd imagined it all. But the video was still there on my phone, cracked, corrupted, glitching, but real. When I went to find Arthur the next morning, his office was empty. His desk was neat, keys still hanging by the door. I asked around, but no one had seen him since last night. And now, there were 8 apartments open, one more than yesterday. The news said nothing. No missing persons report, no police update. It was like the world just didn't care. By evening, a new note was taped to the lobby doors. Emergency maintenance will be conducted tonight. Please stay inside your apartments between 3:30 and 5 a.m. No signature, no explanation. I didn't plan to stay. I was going to pack my things and leave before dark. But when I tried to start my car, the engine wouldn't turn over. Every car in the lot was dead. So I went back upstairs, defeated, terrified, waiting for dawn. But around midnight, the power flickered again. Not off, just dim. And for the first time, I realized something. The knocking wasn't just moving downward this time. It was coming back up, starting from the lobby, moving floor to floor. And it was getting faster. By the time the knocking reached the 5th floor, I was already pacing my living room, sweating through my shirt, trying to think of any way out. It was faster this time, not the slow, patient rhythm from before. It was angry, desperate, like it was hunting. Knock, knock, knock. Footsteps. Then again. Louder. Closer. I backed toward my window, but I was 7 stories up. Below me, the parking lot was pitch black. The streetlights had gone out again. Even the sky looked wrong, like the stars had been erased. Knock, knock, knock. 6th floor. Then silence. I stood there, barely breathing. My phone lay on the table, still recording. I thought if I could just capture it one more time, if I could prove this wasn't tea in my head, maybe someone would believe me. Then came the sound of the elevator. It shouldn't have been working, the power was out, but I could hear it, a deep grinding hum rising from below. The floor vibrated under my feet as it climbed. It stopped on 7. A single ding echoed through the hallway, then nothing. I stared at my door, waiting for the sound I knew was coming. 3 knocks, slow, measured. My entire body went cold. I grabbed a kitchen knife, even though I knew it wouldn't matter. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. Knock, knock, knock. I whispered to myself, "Don't open it. Don't open it." Then a voice, familiar, calm. "Hey." "It's Arthur." I froze. No, that couldn't be. He was gone, but the voice continued. "I fixed the generator. You're safe now. Just open up, okay?" I didn't move. Something in his tone wasn't right. Too flat, too even. Like a recording. I looked through the peephole. Arthur stood there, or what looked like him. Same jacket, same bald head, same clipboard tucked under his arm. But his eyes, they weren't eyes. Just black circles, empty. He smiled. Not with his mouth, with his whole face, stretching skin that shouldn't have stretched. Then he spoke again, but the voice didn't come from his mouth. It came from behind me. "Why didn't you answer last time?" I spun around, but the apartment was empty. When I turned back, the peephole was black. Something was covering it from the other side. The doorknob started to turn. I threw my weight against the door, holding it shut. It twisted violently, metal grinding under my hand. I screamed, pushing with everything I had. Then suddenly, the noise stopped. Silence. The air went still. My ears rang with that awful high-pitched hum that comes when there's no sound left. Then I heard it whispering, dozens of voices, all around me, under the floor, inside the walls, above the ceiling. They were saying the same thing over and over. 407, the lights flickered. My phone camera blinked once, then twice. And then, in that split second of darkness, every apartment door on my floor slammed open. The sound was deafening. Wind rushed through the hallway, though there were no windows. My door cracked open an inch, and through that gap, I saw shapes, dozens of them, tall, human-like, flickering in and out like bad reception. One of them turned its head toward me and smiled. Then, just as quickly as it began, everything stopped. The power came back. 4:07 a.m. The next morning, the building was silent again. No neighbors, no sounds, no Mrs. Perkins, no Arthur. Only me. I went downstairs. The front doors were wide open. The street outside was empty too, cars parked, lights on, but no people. I drove until the gaslight came on, and not once did I see another living soul. I checked my phone. The last video file was still there, the one from last night. I hit play. The screen showed me sleeping on the floor. Then around 4 a.m., the door creaked open. Someone or something stepped inside. It was tall, too tall, with limbs that stretched wrong. It leaned over me, its face inches from mine. Then it looked straight into the camera and whispered one word, "Next." The video cut out at 4:07 a.m. They found my phone 3 days later in an empty apartment complex on the west side of Chicago, Alden Towers. Every unit unlocked, every door open, every resident gone. The police called it a mass evacuation, but the file on my phone says otherwise. Because if you listen closely, right at the end of the recording, you can hear it faint but clear. Knock, knock, knock.